Bluff City Media presents the Two Buck Sports Show with your hosts, Rusty Buckets and Uncle Buck. Now, let's get to the show.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to your Monday edition of the Two Buck Sports Show, live at 11 a.m. Central, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I am your co-host, Rusty Buckets, coming to you live as always, this time from Corinth, Mississippi, as I'm at my dad's house, taking my nephew to a basketball camp later today. Super stoked about that, playing Uncle Buckets today. Speaking of buckets and uncles, I got Uncle Buck with me today. Uncle Buck, how's it going in North Mississippi, man?
It's good. It's good. Had a good Father's Day weekend. Got to go to the campground a little bit where my parents were staying. Kids got to ride the boat, grill out. Just a pretty low-key weekend, but every single time that it's a family holiday weekend, I mean, we're just tearing up the roads. And that led to my beef for the weekend, which I guess is next.
What a professional segue. You know, we're going to get right into everybody's favorite time waste of the week because we got a lot of stuff to talk about today.
That is right. We are the Two Buck Sports Show. It is Monday. We are on Bluff City Media's YouTube and X page. I would like to take this moment to cordially invite everybody watching on X to jump on over to Bluff City Media's YouTube page. We've got King Meeks, we've got Wayno, we've got Jared already in the comments throwing fire emojis. It's 2 a.m. in Sydney, Australia, and Wayno's with us, so there's no reason why you can't be. So this segment's brought to you by Donna's Italian Beef. Rusty, tell them about it.
Donna's Italian Beef at 509 Constitution Drive in Iuka. Open Monday through Friday, 7 to 3, Saturday, 7 to 11. The best breakfast spot, the best lunch spot on your way to Pickwick. If you know, you know. He's got slug burgers. He's got burgers, patty melts. There's always a lunch special. Even has Italian beef for breakfast. He can throw you up a tenderloin biscuit, a slug egg and cheese biscuit. Check out Jim and the guys at Donna's Italian Beef, 509 Constitution Drive in Iuka, Mississippi, next time you're headed to Pickwick.
That's right. Go check it out. And ain't nothing better than an Italian beef and a slug burger. And if you sell both, I would take a membership card, please.
And take a look at the court board when you walk in. You might see two familiar yet ugly mugs on that court board.
You will see Kenny and Rusty. All right. It's Monday. It's our first segment. We spend every single Monday to start the show off as two best friends just catching up. And we call this segment our best and beef of the week. It's where we tell each other the best thing that happened to us this weekend and our biggest beef of the weekend. Rusty, I set them up. You knock them down. What is the best thing that happened to you this weekend?
It might be Kenny's comment here that your new nickname is Italian Beef, but
I'm not Italian.
No, it was a good weekend. It was kind of low key. But Saturday, my roommate and I hit up. They had a cool little Memphis Brew Fest this weekend. There was it was all the local breweries got together, had beer specials, food specials. There were 2 buses that were running that just carried people around the 10 different stops. The only problem is, Drew, they only had 2 buses for 10 stops, so they came by like once an hour. And it just never failed that, like, whenever we got settled and got our beers, the bus would come by. And so we ended up just driving around, but it was a great time. And we got to go to, we started at Wiseacre and had one of the best pizzas in Memphis. If you know, you know. We kind of filtered through, hit up several. The one we wanted to make, but we couldn't, was Grind City. We ended up meeting some friends and kind of got derailed, but had a great time just bouncing around different breweries and just hung out on Saturday. It was a much needed day after a tumultuous week. That was a good week, but I needed some beer on Saturday, so took full advantage of that.
Oh, we may hear more about the tumultuous week and the beef of the week, but I'm not going to take Rusty's thunder.
Yeah, I'm back and forth about whether I want to talk about it or not.
On your time.
Because honestly, it would be the best thing to happen to me this week. And since we're dancing around the issue, I was a victim of corporate downsizing this week. I'm taking a sabbatical for the summer to kind of figure out what my next moves are. I got some big plans for this summer and this fall for Bluff City Media, for the Two Buck Sports Show specifically. There's some awesome things coming. Y'all stay tuned, but your boy is down but never out. And no ill will towards anybody. It's just a business decision. I get it. And I am a free agent, an unrestricted free agent, no bird rights. I'm open to negotiations.
Yeah. So, good. I'm glad that was your best of the week. My best of the week is we just had a good weekend, man. Just as simple as that. You know, I got to celebrated was the wrong word, but like Father's Day was yesterday. I love Father's Day because the kids leave children's church and they all have drawn me a picture or something. It's great. As a parent, it's like everything is always about the kids, and that's how it should be. And so to get a day to where I was just kind of like, hey, honey, this is your diaper. Like, it's Father's Day is like something that rarely works, even on Father's Day, but once or twice it did. So that was my best of the week. Just Father's Day. Got to hang out with Haley's dad. We got to hang out with my dad at the campsite. Just a good weekend. Slow weekend. No ball tournament. So everything we did, although we were putting lots of miles on the Honda Odyssey, every time we arrived at where we were going, we relaxed. So not too bad. So, but what comes up must go down. There has to be a yang to the yin, Rusty. I'm not sure if yin is the positive or yang is the positive.
Yin is positive.
Yin is
yang
positive.
is a negative. I think so.
Yeah. It's pretty pessimistic to say yin and yang, and yin, the first thing you say be negative. So here in America, we're going to say that yin is positive. So there's got to be a yang is what I'm trying to say, Rusty. What's your biggest beef of the week?
Dude, I'm just getting old, man. And I was in a rush yesterday. It was a leg day on Saturday. Like, I was just trying to go hurry up and get a workout in before I came to Corinth to see my dad for Father's Day and hang out with him. And I just rushed right into a nice little squat and lunge complex. And on the second round, at the tail end of it, my right low back injury that I've had since 2019 flared up. It flares up like once a year. And I'm like, oh God. And I'm kind of stuck in like a Quasimodo kind of position. I do my exercises. It gets better. I woke up this morning and like getting out of bed was trying to like figure out how to best log roll. And like, I ended up kind of like rolling to my right side and pressing off the bed, sliding off, and it didn't hurt. So that was good. And as the day's going on, I've gotten more and more vertical. I'm still a bit like, if you look at me from the side, I look more vertical, but if you look at me front on, my hips and shoulders are still kind of leaning a little bit, but it's better. So this happens once a year. I'm down for about 3 or 4 days, and then I bounce back better than ever. So we're looking for that come up.
Any sponsor out there, if you want to sponsor a segment, I'd love to sponsor a segment in which we watch Rusty hang upside down on an inversion table.
I'll do it in a heartbeat. Let's go.
We'll do the podcast with Rusty on an inversion table. So
happily,
any PT clinics out there want to sponsor the podcast.
That's it. And listen, if I pass out, just keep going and I'll come to, and I'll just be right back in.
I will. And I will not be able to help.
I'll be like those videos of those people on those slingshots that pass out and they're like a wet noodle, and then they come to and they scream and pass out again. That'll just be me.
It reminds me of on Top Gun 2, you know, where the one kid passes out from the G-force, and he just and Tom Cruise just like, give me noise, and trying to putting his radar on him so it starts dinging inside of his cabin. I'm just gonna be like ding, 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 saying if Rusty wakes up. So my biggest beef of the week is the Honda Odyssey. I'm going to get it looked at. AC goes in and out. I don't know what the problem is. Edward wants to sell me a Volvo. My problem, Edward, is I don't ever see anybody driving Volvos. So do they make those in America anymore? But if you would like to take a 2019 Honda Odyssey, trade it in for a Volvo van. Do they make Volvo vans? And you want to service it for me on the regular and take care of me throughout all of my inevitable pit stops. We'll talk.
Volvo is, if that's what you need, Edward's the man. He's got you covered in the comments. Y'all check him out. Edward, sell my boy a Volvo, and if we need to, we'll take that, put that live on air of Drew hopping in the Volvo.
I'll tell you what, Edward's dealership can sponsor the show, and the only payment will be a Volvo for Uncle Buck.
Listen, I will have no beef with that whatsoever. Right here in the Best of Beef segment.
You can be a permanent sponsor. All you've got to do is give me the biggest SUV you've got.
That's it. Edward says he's got you. Be on the lookout for that. It's coming. But before we dive in, let's go ahead and get our sponsorship out of the way. We are proud to be sponsored by and partnered with Ounce of Hope here in Memphis, is local premier cannabis dispensary. They are your source for THC seltzers, of which I'm a big fan, particularly the Cherry Jane. It is the Peach Buzz, the High Lime, Berry High, all very good. Mushroom Vitality Gummies are a big thing, product for the summer to help you with an alcohol-free, hangover-free solution for your Friday nights. Check them out for all your products. They've got edibles to product to actually anything that you could possibly imagine. to have a good ending to your week. Check out ounceofhope.com. Use the code Bluff City, all one word, for 15% off your first order. Or check them out in the Sanderland Center or in the Cooper Young neighborhood on South Cooper Street for all of your needs while you are in Memphis. We got a new commercial too, because there's another sponsor on the back end. After that, we're talking all things Desmond Bane.
Looking for an alternative to alcohol or conventional medicine? Check out Ounce of Hope, a Memphis-based dispensary with 2 local stores in the Sanderland Center and on South Cooper Street. You can get all the products you need in a location convenient to you. Each store offers an intentional shopping experience with dedicated bud tenders to answer all of your questions, from product selection and mushroom blends to our personal favorite, the Delta 9 seltzers. You gotta try the Peach Buzz. Try Ounce of Hope at either one of their 2 Memphis stores or at www.ounceofhope.com for convenient products shipped right to your door. Use the promo code Bluff City for 15% off any order, excluding sale items. Cannot be used in conjunction with other promotions or discounts. One use per customer.
In the heart of the Highland Strip for 27 years, Trilogy Tattoo has helped tell stories for Memphians for generations. Located at 530 South Highland, Richie and his team are waiting to help you tell yours.
From tattoos to piercings, your body art should be as unique as you are. Voted a Memphis Flyer top 3 tattoo shop in the city of Memphis since day one. Your story will be safe here at Trilogy Tattoo.
Open 7 days a week, Monday through Saturday, 11 to 11, and 3 to 11 on Sundays. They have convenient times waiting on you. Let Trilogy Tattoo help you tell your story.
Yes, Jared. Kenny got that tattoo specifically for that commercial. Took one for the team. Check out those guys at Trilogy. I was there for that. It was an awesome experience. Richie and the gang are awesome. Mark, the tattoo artist, is great. Great, clean environment. It's a really cool story of their story. Been in the Mid-South, in Memphis, in that building for 27 years, Drew. Check out Trilogy Tattoos next time you need to tell a story with your tattoo.
Well, I've got one tattoo. It's a story I don't want to tell.
I've got a bunch, so I'm going to be getting some more Trilogy. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah. I just kind of want to cover up mine. I think I want to do something different.
There you go. That sounds good.
Well, hey, for the right reasons.
Speaking of doing something different, the Memphis Grizzlies did something different and made a splash on Sunday, being the first team to make a big trade for the summer. Not the trade that we necessarily saw coming, but one that I don't think we could ignore. Drew, we're, of course, talking about the Desmond Bane trade. We'll talk details first, and then we do want to talk about the man that is flyby king, Desmond Bane. Desmond Bane being shipped to the Orlando Magic for Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, KCP, Cole Anthony, 4 first-round picks, and a first-round pick swap. Drew, quite the haul for Desmond, one we couldn't quite say no. But what has Desmond Bane meant to you and this franchise in his 5 years here in Memphis?
Well, listen, I love homegrown stories. I love underdogs. I like everything about what Desmond Bane and his story is. You know, he was a guy that when in the draft process, you talked about what he didn't have more than what he did have. You know, he had short arms. You didn't know if he would project here. It was all physical. It was all this, that, all that. But wasn't talked about nearly enough is that he's just a dead-eye three-point shooter, and he's an absolute dog. You know, Zach Kleiman in the postseason press conference talked about dogs, needing more dogs, you know, and I do agree with that wholeheartedly. But Desmond Bane, and this isn't a knock on the trade by any means, Desmond Bane was the biggest dog we had, you know. I mean, ask Santi Aldama if Desmond Bane's a dog.
Yeah.
They barked at each other all the time. And I love just kind of the grit he brought to us. I think Desmond Bane will be remembered by Grizzlies fans extremely positively. I mean, he's a guy that we thought we were going to build this team around, and by no fault of his own, he ends up on the Orlando Magic, and it has nothing to do with the player that Desmond Bane is, but just the state of the NBA with this hard cap, which is the second apron now. it makes it infinitely harder to pay 3 guys max contracts. And what we did determine, and again, this isn't a knock, is that he's just the 3rd best player and he's making a lot of money. So a perfect situation for him to land in. But man, I love Desmond Bane. I'll always love Desmond Bane. I'm so glad he went to the East, so I feel like I can root for Desmond Bane.
Yeah, agreed.
And I'm a little sad.
Yeah. So Drew, hindsight's always 2020. You know, we are best friends, have been for over a decade, and I'm hypercritical of you. I pick on you all the time. So we can look at Desmond Bane, at the player who he was, and appreciate him. No, never. And while also like seeing some of the things that frustrated us. But that's not what we're going to talk about today. What we're going to talk about today is the flyby king. Drew, Desmond Bane was always a threat from 3 for that catch and shoot, particularly early in his career. Like there was a time, and still even last year, but there was a time where if Desmond Bane got the ball with nobody around him behind the 3-point line, I went ahead and rung it up and put 3 on the board, as Eric Hasseltine would say.
Absolutely.
Because it just felt like it was automatic. Last season, in a season that was quote unquote a down year for Desmond Bane, he made 51% of his catch and shoot open threes, meaning he was behind the line, caught a pass, and knocked it down with nobody around him 51% of the time. That's really impressive from 30 feet from the basket. Not only that, but Desmond could also create shots off the dribble. Now, not bringing it full court coast to coast, but if he could catch it in stride on like a motion type play or coming off of a pick, he could get to the rim with authority and finish pretty well. Desmond Bane will be forever remembered. Somebody said it earlier, Edward, as probably the best shooting guard we've had so far in franchise history, just because of the accuracy with which he shot the ball, the dependability that he was on offense. And last year, Drew, he not only finished, he was one of the best offensive guards at finishing at the rim. He was also one of the better defensive guards. He was, for the majority of the season, he was the #1 defensive guard against 2-point shots. And so is he a lockdown defender? No. But playing alongside Jalen Suggs, he will be more of a positive than a net negative because Jalen Suggs is such a lethal defender. But what he brings to the table for Orlando is what it was for us. He's going to be that drive and kick option or that screen pick and pop option for Banchero and Jalen Suggs, just like he was for John Morant and Jaren here in Memphis. And so I will always appreciate Desmond for his contribution, especially on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, he's absolutely amazing. Defensively, he's not a liability, but what you see, and that's what that stat tells me, you know, how he does well at the rim is that he doesn't get blown by. You see guards that don't even try. That's not Desmond Bane. Does he have problems? Yes. Limitations, yes. But it's not about what he can't do. It's what he can do. And what he can do is just a generational talent at shooting 3-pointers. And when he struggled at the Grizzlies, it's because he was playing out of position because of rotations or because John Morant wasn't playing basketball or because when John Morant was playing basketball, the offense required him to stand in the corner and whoever got the rebound dribbled. Like it's just not great. Just not great for him this year. And it left probably a lot of Grizzlies with a sour taste. But seeing him in Orlando, he will get a massive ovation when he comes back to FedEx Forum. And he's going to deserve every single clap. And he's going to drop 50 on us.
Yeah, I mean, and what better situation could he have gone to? Like Kenny said here in the comments, which let's get those rolling on the screen with us. If there's any Magic fans, like please pipe up, tell us what you think, who you think Desmond is going to play well with, and if you think he'll be a good fit there in Orlando. Because for us, I think he's a perfect fit. You know, starting lineup that has Jalen Suggs, who's a true point guard, Desmond Bane at the 2, you got Franz Wagner at the 3, Banchero at the 4, and Wendell Carter Jr., whoever at the 5. We've also got Anthony Black in there. Like, this team is going to be very, very good. And I think Desmond helps take them up a step as long as they can stay healthy. I've been a huge Orlando fan, kind of closeted since the Shaq Penny days. And so now because he's there, this gives me a rooted interest in him. Even though last year I picked him to be in the Eastern Conference Finals, injuries bit him. But I think going in next year, if they can stay healthy, with Desmond Bane helping in their half-court offense and transition game, I think the Magic have a real shot to make some noise next year, and Desmond Bane will be a huge part of that.
Yeah, it's a perfect fit for him because Jalen Suggs is an elite defender as a point guard. Franz and Paolo and Wendell Carter Jr. are all good defenders. This team last year was one of the best defensive teams in basketball. And you plug in Desmond Bane, who isn't the best defender, but he has an elite offensive quality, which is three-point shooting. And they were the worst in three-point shooting in the NBA last year. I mean, it's perfect. If you're Orlando, you are not going to sweat giving up 4 first-round picks.
No.
And if you're the Grizzlies, you're happy to get the 4 first-round picks. I feel like everybody's happy. I'm just going to miss the fella.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, agreed. And Drew, they're getting a great player because since the 2020-2021 season, there are 3 active players in the NBA with 800 plus 3-pointers made and shooting 40% or better. Those 3 players are Desmond Bane, Steph Curry, and Zach LaVine. That's pretty good company for Desmond going to a team that was dead last in 3-point percentage last year and have an opportunity to make a huge leap with Desmond Bane at the 2 guard.
Yeah, I like it. Let's talk about the Grizzlies, though. The Grizzlies got 4 first-round picks. They got KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, and they got the other guy who I'm blanking on, Cole Anthony. And so, Rusty, this was obviously a haul. When I saw the news, I saw the Shams notification yesterday. I called you, and as I was reading it to you, you had not heard this yet. So I was telling you for the first time, and I was reading it for the first. I just saw Desmond Bane traded, called Rusty, and then read it to him. I never thought that Desmond Bane could get 4 first-round picks traded for him, and I think a lot of that has to do with Orlando getting off of a contract of KCP, added another first or 1.5 first-round picks into that, but just an absolute haul from the Grizzlies side. And it seems to me like it's a trade offer that was, negotiated and settled upon and resulted in Zach Kleiman just saying, okay, I think I have to take this offer.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. I don't know how you cannot take that offer. You're getting 4 first-round picks back for Desmond Bane.
Yeah. I mean, they're already coming out and saying that Kevin Durant's not even going to fetch that many draft picks. And so for what, like Wayno said earlier, for what was once the 30th overall pick out of TCU, that's quite a haul that you can't say no to. It feels like we countered maybe for a Jalen Suggs or somebody, and Orlando said no, but we've got a bunch of picks that we need to come off of. And so, there's been a lot of online debate about those picks, Drew. Most of them are going to be higher draft picks, but there are a couple that could end up in the lottery, which are going to be the ones that are going to be more vital to other teams and our prospects of trading, right? And so the biggest thing with all these picks that helps is they're all unprotected, meaning that if some fluke happens and Orlando falls into the lottery, that can be ours. Now, next year's is very likely to be in the lottery because the 2026 pick is whichever one is better of the Washington Wizards or the Phoenix Suns pick. We get the better of the 2. And so that could very easily be a lottery pick that we could use or we could move.
I believe we get the second best pick of the 2, right?
Yes.
Because I was looking at Bobby Marks. He kind of got a
he
got a dry race
we
for
get the second. Yeah, I saw that.
We get the second. So what you really need is that Phoenix to be high, but not higher than Washington, as I believe the best scenario.
Correct.
So, listen, you get really in the weeds when you're talking about protections and pick swaps and stuff. I don't have a firm grasp on that yet. As time comes, we'll get it. But you're obviously going to get the 16th pick in next week's draft, and you get 2 more first-round picks that are unprotected, and you get a swap in down the road.
2030.
So
2030 is the pick swap.
Is the pick swap. So, yes, I don't think that, it's very possible that this year may be your best pick that you get from Orlando outside of whatever weird thing happens with the swap in next year's draft. And then the rest of them, I mean, I project Orlando to be really good for, 5 to 10 years. I don't think there's any reason why not. I think Paulo is going to be a perennial Eastern Conference All-Star / MVP finalist when he gets cooking. And so, no, I don't expect those to be in the lottery, but you like to have them. You like to have them. And so, and it's a lot more than I thought we were going to get from Desmond Bane. So,
I mean, you're not wrong. And so the 2 players that we got are Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, KCP, one who we've coveted in Memphis for a long time as a 3-and-D type wing. He's a big body. He's got championship experience. He's won 2 titles, one with LeBron, one with Nikola Jokic. And so he's played with guys that are super successful. And Drew, I couldn't think of, for me, the best part of this, not only just the player, but I couldn't think of a better role model and mentor for Jalen Wells than KCP, because he's the same kind of player out of Georgia, kind of not just like he was a higher draft pick, but then he kind of got washed and moved a little bit and surfaced in LA and then the Nuggets. Like, I think he could be a great role model for Jalen and say, look, if you do these two things really well, if you get your three-point shot back and you play great defense, you'll have a long NBA career. And he's just a savvy vet that I think is going to elevate the culture and morale of this team. We'll start with KCP. What are your thoughts on KCP before we get to Cole Anthony?
You're right. We've coveted the style of player that is KCP. You know, all the three initials guys. You know, we wanted DFS, and then we wanted KCP, and both of those dudes just are point of attack defenders that do a pretty good job defending and shoot a 3-point ball really well. What is a perk that you mentioned is that he does have 2 national championship rings, and I believe that's invaluable. You know what I mean. He does have 2 NBA championship rings with Denver and the bubble year with the Lakers. And so you hope that he brings some kind of championship mindset. He's 32 years old, which makes him the oldest player on the Grizzlies. So I don't know much about KCP's personality, because I don't necessarily believe that having rings makes you a leader. But if you are a leader and you are willing to be vocal and you are willing to be the vet on this team, the 2 rings gives you the cachet to do that if you have that personality. I hope that he does. And so, yeah, I think KCP fits in perfect, whether he's coming in off the bench or he's starting. I believe that his 3-point percentage is going to go through the roof again, back over 40%, where he's been virtually his whole career until his 1 year in Orlando. I think playing with John Morant always allows for people to have open 3-point shots, and we need guys that can hit them, and I think KCP is one of those guys.
Yeah, he adds to the swing offense, right? Because you're going to have multiple options. Jaren is a 3-point threat. KCP is a 3-point threat. I don't think we're done. I think we're going to get another 3-point threat. And so this team is going to look a lot different come October. But I think KCP is one that we can say will likely suit up. Now, he could be moved alongside Cole Anthony, who both are part of like the aggregate trade. So because of that, they can be traded solo. So we could do like a straight swap with KCP or Cole Anthony, but they can't be paired up with anybody until August 15th. So we could agree in principle, but the trade can't happen until August 15th. Edward's exactly right. I was about to make that point before we moved on to Cole Anthony. I've been asking for an adult in the room for the last 2 seasons. And KCP, if he has the personality, like Drew said, could be that adult in the room, like the Pascal Siakam that we saw in the preseason, kind of rallying the troops, helping us to grow up and kind of be that guy. I think that he was forced into a role that he wasn't quite ready for in Orlando because of the injuries and the wash that season was last year. But if he could go back to being the 4th option for the Grizzlies, 3rd on occasion, like that's where KCP is going to thrive and make us better offensively, Drew, as that 3-point threat.
Yeah. Let's talk about Cole Anthony. I like Cole Anthony. I've always kind of liked Cole Anthony because I like the personality of Cole Anthony. He's explosive. He's a little undersized. He is a point guard, which, you know, the Grizzlies currently have John Morant and Scottie Pippen Jr., and I would absolutely want to keep Cole Anthony as well. I mean, if I'm just being honest with you, you're talking about Bulldogs. I love Cole Anthony. I love his personality. I'll never forget him shouting out Mo Bamba. You know,
you remember him mooning Desmond Bane during the Rising Stars game?
Yes, I love him. I love the character. I love the character of him. And I'd be lying if I told you I watched a lot of Cole Anthony games, but he seems like a guy that's always there for it. I think he struggled in the playoffs, but it's one of those things like Orlando didn't end the season well. They ended the playoffs like they ended the regular season very poorly and with no offense. So it's really hard to draw much about Cole Anthony with how he finished the regular season and playoffs this year for Orlando. But again, I wanted dogs. I wanted personalities. I wanted leaders. I think Cole Anthony is a good voice to have in the locker room.
Agreed, but he won't be around. He's a $13 million a year player, and we have a $2 million a year backup point guard, at Scottie Pippen Jr. That's where we are going to keep. That's where we can save money. And Pip showed that he was ready for those moments in what he did against Oklahoma City. But the main reason that I think that Cole Anthony is going to be gone is he's a $13.1 million contract. But Drew, if we trade him out, he can be traded for up to $20.6 million in returning salary. And so what that looks like for a player standpoint, I saw this is from on Twitter. Anthony can be traded for a $20.6 million returning salary. So that's guys like PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, Denny Abdia, who we talked about last week. Keegan Murray is another name that's come up on this show multiple times. Cam Johnson, Jakob Pertl, and Isaiah Stewart. He could also be used in a sign and trade for players in the neighborhood of Naz Reid or Nickeil Alexander-Walker. So that's a very, very enticing contract to move for a guy who is looked upon favorably outside of DG as the Duke fan here in the comments by a lot of teams. And so I think that Cole Anthony getting moved is the most likely scenario. And bro, that could open the door to a lot of good players.
Yeah. I did not know that. Like I said, the NBA cap rules is just so convoluted. Like, how in the world can you bring in a guy that's making $12 million and trade him for a guy making 20? I don't understand.
Math.
Like, math. Yeah. I'm an engineer. That math does not make sense to me. So yeah, if you make the right move for him, that's fine. I have no problem bringing back Cole Anthony, and I certainly don't think that Scottie Pippen Jr. and Cole Anthony are redundant, because if we know anything about John Morant, is both of them are going to have to play. Like, you can't have Scottie Pippen Jr. being your only point guard when John Morant misses 15 games.
I get it.
25
It's just
games.
hard. It's going to be hard to carry 3-point guards when one of them's your star, Scotty's $2 million, and then you can move this contract for something really good when we have other holes we need to fill.
Yeah, no, I totally get it. He's a trade chip. He's a good trade chip. And if he makes the salaries work so you can get a wing, I definitely prioritize that. But he is not, I'm not calling him and being like, hey, don't even make the flight. Like, I'm going to say, like, hey, we're happy to have you. It's obviously a long off season and we will see what happens. But I would also love to have you here.
I don't know that he needs to find a real estate agent in Memphis. Let's just put it that way, because I don't know that he's going to be around that long when there are teams that are in need of a point guard. Yuki or Cole Anthony. Give me Yuki.
No, Yuki doesn't belong in this league.
I'm kidding. But if we can move him for a guy, and Drew, a name on there that's pretty interesting to me is Jakob Pertl. It came out today. The Toronto Raptors are reportedly open to trading RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quigley, and Jakob Pertl. Those are three guys that they're looking to move. Drew, could that be somebody that we could package a Cole Anthony and a Brandon Clark, send Brandon Clark north of the border for a big wing like RJ Barrett? RJ Barrett's had an up and down NBA career, but he played really well in the Olympics for Team Canada and has shown flashes of being a good NBA player. Could that be a package that you'd be interested in moving BC and Cole Anthony for?
Yes. I want wings. I want big wings. I'm not RJ Barrett is a little difficult. I don't know how well he shoots. But I want to do what Indiana did. I think that's the new way that you build teams in the NBA. If you want to talk about Zach Kleiman in a minute, but like, I think that's a new way you build teams in the NBA. You can't build it with three superstars making max contracts. It's just, you can't do it anymore. And so what Indiana did is they took two either max guys or really close to max guys. Halliburton will be a max guy one day. And so they've got Siakam and Halliburton, and then you just litter it with a bunch of role players that can do everything, but, have a ceiling. Nobody's going to pay Nembhard a max contract or Neesmith a max contract or Obi Toppin, but these guys are all really good wing players. Yeah. And Oklahoma City the same way, if not even a better example. They're going to have to make a decision between Jalen and Chet one day, J-Dub and Chet one day, because of the same things that the Grizzlies are going through right now. And so anything that could get us wings and a big man. I don't want your only big man to be Zach Edey, just because I don't think he holds up.
So speaking of, we got a lot of talk about combo guards and how Des didn't work out as that combo guard, literally right on cue. Shout out Chris Dotson, Dude and Dotson on Twitter. He just tweeted about 10 minutes ago, I'm being told that Jalen Wells is back up to doing a lot of work with ball handling, aiming to do more playmaking and facilitating next season. Jalen Wells could be that guy that helps because he's got that back pocket. He's more of a wing, but it seems pretty clear that they're kind of content on him being maybe a starter on this team and maybe KCP being, and so Jalen Wells handling the basketball. I don't hate that idea, Drew. If that turns into big wings and a backup big that we need.
You wanted me to tell you who Jalen Wells needs to model his game after. You said KCP could be a good mentor. Go watch Jalen Williams. That's what you want to be. You go get your ball handling down. Start to learn how to drive. Jalen Williams is massive, and so is Jalen Wells. He is. You don't understand how big he is, but he is like 6'7", 6'8". He just doesn't look like it because he's a lot of times playing the 3 or 4 on the NBA. But if he can develop some dribbling and some real drive and kick potential, playmaking, like that's who I want Jalen Wells to be. Be Jalen Williams.
Yeah. I mean, the good Jalen Williams, not the other Jalen Williams.
No, not J. Will, J. Dub. Not Arkansas,
J-Dub.
J. Williams. Nothing good comes out of Arkansas.
No, sorry, Jared Davidson. I know you're a big Arkansas Razorback fan. I tried to tell you not to don't count them out. Don't count on them to beat LSU. And I was exactly right. They're in an elimination game today with Murray State. More on that to come here in a little bit. But Drew, I think the world is our oyster is kind of what it's coming down to. Is we are in a prime position with flexibility. I do want to talk about climbing for a minute because I know you got some thoughts on some of our takes. We talked about a bit in the green room, but like for all the mistakes that he made at the deadline with Marcus Smart and moving off our first round pick to move him, he has brought back a ton that I think most NBA teams would be jealous of, right? With the cap flexibility, the draft picks that we now have, I think there's an opportunity for us to get a lot better and for King Kleiman to reclaim his throne.
Yeah. Y'all did make a lot of fuss yesterday, and in the moment, I get it. You got 4 first-round picks for Desmond Bane. I understand the victory lap. I was pretty high on it at the same time. Although I'm stopping.
Hang on, Jared, don't go. We've just begun to talk about Arkansas. Hang around to the baseball segment, brother. That's when you can leave.
I was pulling for Arkansas against LSU.
I was too, but I told you what was going to happen, but I was pulling for Arkansas.
And I certainly can't pull for the team that put Ole Miss out that Arkansas plays today in an elimination game. So I may be woo pigging in this third segment. Anyways, listen, I'm going to stop short of saying that Zach Kleiman has redeemed himself and he should put his crown back on. Like, I'm not there yet because ultimately we've seen Zach Kleiman make big moves, well, not big moves, but hammer drafts, do great jobs, getting guys that can develop into really good players. That's kind of been his shtick. This was an amazing return that he got for Desmond Bane. Although I think if you ask Orlando, they're happy with the return they gave away because they got off KCP. And so there's some other things in that maybe say like, well, maybe you didn't, maybe the haul is not all at what it seems to be just for Desmond Bane. I don't care. I love the haul. I love KCP. I love all this. So it's a great trade. It's a great trade. I think it's a great trade. It benefits both teams. I'm not ready to crown him and say that he's righted all wrongs yet, because this team right now is still worse, drastically worse than it was last year. So the big move, and if you want for me to put the crown back on King Kleiman, as he's been known in the past, is he's got to use these picks correctly and put together a team that, despite missing Desmond Bane, is better next year than this year.
So here, I think he may not have his crown on, but it's about right here. It's coming down because I feel like the move is coming. And Art asked a good question. I want to get to that. I'm team not. I don't want to keep the 16th pick. I think we can package that and move that and make that a real thing. The only reason I would keep the 16th pick, Drew, and we'll get to this more here in a minute, is if we make some other moves and we need that to fill a roster spot. That's the only reason I'd want to keep it. If we make some moves and it's a backup roster spot for us.
And the reason why
I'm tired of tripling down on youth.
Yeah, the reason why I'm not crowded him, though, is because how many times have we heard, at least twice, have we heard that Zach Kleiman offered 4 first-round picks for a player that we covet and didn't work? So I'm terrified that we're going to see round 3 and we have sacrificed Desmond Bane for it. That's
so here's where
and that's the reason why I'm not bowing at the feet of Kleiman, because what he's done, he hasn't done what he did yesterday. He has not done before, which is getting a good return for a player. But also what we're asking him to do now with these picks, he is we have verified evidence he has not been able to do in the past.
So we do sort of, Drew, because my thought on that is what if he pushed those 4 picks, but they came back and said, yeah, but it's going to take Desmond. Yeah, but it's going to take Ja. Yeah, but it's going to take this. And instead of being on the negative side of the fan base, which I refuse to be on anymore, I am team standing on business. Maybe that's because he came out and said that we weren't ready to move a young prospect at the deadline, and maybe that was a mistake. Now this summer, we need to see it. I need to see it come to fruition. But I am more on the side of he stood on business here and got a massive haul back for Desmond Bane. I'm going to say that he stood on business and was not willing to give up some players on some of those. I want to say it's more of that than the inability.
Yeah.
With the caveat, that if it doesn't happen this and you go after a Cam Johnson or a Mikal Bridges or whoever again, and they say, well, we offered 4 first, but we couldn't get it done. This is the summer where I'm officially going to say I don't think Zach Kleiman can get it done because we have literally all the assets. We have all of the momentum to make something happen. And if he doesn't, then I'm going to start being a loud mouthpiece on the other side. But until then, I am team he is standing on business for the right move.
Right. And I think Jared is on to something. And if you want to be positive, that this is the reason why something may have changed. Is that he realizes he messed up. And I believe that – I hope that's the case. I hope he learned something from what happened at the trade deadline when it didn't go our way. But we've just had – we talked about Mikal Bridges when he gets traded to New York. It's like, well, we offered 4. Well, it took 5. And with KD, like, well, we offered 4. Or with Jimmy Butler, hey, we offered 3 or 4. And it never got done. And it makes him seem small and like they're just brushing him off to the side and that he's not able to seal the deal. Now, we've got 4 more picks than we had Saturday, but we've always had all of our picks except for this pick that we got off of for Marcus Smart. We've always had all of our picks. So, we were willing to do it then. We've got just more picks now. You've got to seal the deal. It's like, I'm complaining about my Honda Odyssey. It's like, that's like me coming to my wife and be like, hey, I sold the Odyssey. I got $25,000 for it, but we don't have a van. So I've got to go buy this van. Now I've got to take this $25,000 and get my money's worth for something that'll last us for 10 years. But if I take this $25,000 and buy another lemon, well, then I should have never just sold the van that was at least running,
So, so again, I feel like this is the summer where Zach Kleiman has to prove his worth, and he's got all that cash in his hand, his $25,000 in your example. And I think what he's done coming up to this point is he has believed in the guys that he has drafted and said, these are my guys. Well, now there are less untouchables on the roster than there were at the trade deadline and last summer. Shout out Wayno, took the words right out of my mouth. I think that this is the summer we have to make something work. I am personally team, let's spread those picks across multiple trades. Now, if a Devin Booker, which there's rumors that we reached out about Devin Booker, and there are some contracts that can make it work. And if you compare Ja, Jaren, and Devin Booker, then you say absolutely.
Absolutely. But
I am team more. Let's throw a few picks at Cam Johnson, a few picks at Trey Murphy and Herb Jones, maybe a few picks at Laurie, a few picks at, Jakob and RJ Barrett, and try and build around Ja and Jaren with fringe pieces, just like the Indiana Pacers did, much like the Oklahoma City Thunder did. I am more on that camp than I am go throw all of them at Kevin Durant or all of them at Mikal Bridges or all of them at Devin Booker.
Right.
And let's make this team deep, because if you look at Oklahoma City and Indiana, what are they? They're deep. They are very deep. And so maybe you could throw some of these guys and get a few fringe pieces, a Nall, a Naz Reid, whatever, versus throwing all of them at one big name.
Right. And I guess that's the reason is like you said a couple of times, like, this is your opportunity to prove it that you've learned something. Like, that's where that phrase in itself is where I'm just kind of like, that's the reason. The fact that he's going to have to prove it and we haven't seen it before is the reason why I'm just like not ready yet. So I'm hopeful. I think all the things that are said are correct. I believe that if you take him at face value and believe what he said, it's like that he's going to be aggressive and that he's going to do all this, and it's not good enough getting beat out for trades for good players. Like, I believe all that. I still just have to see it. And I would like to just
Again,
Edward the Fourth
this was
says that I have
get out of here.
there was a great analogy, and I agree. And Edward, send a Volvo my way.
Yeah. So again, this was a king move. Now we have to follow it up with a legacy defining move. And if you can go piece these together and go get Cam Johnson and you can go get a couple of guys, let's make that happen, because like it's right there for the taking. Like our opportunity to be great and silence all these national media guys who are like, oh, it's time to blow it up. They're well flat. And, you know, Memphis is breaking it down to the studs. This is our opportunity to go divide and conquer, get a few pieces, and make us a deep, good basketball team.
I agree with all that. I like the premise of building around John Jaren and letting them continue to be the centerpieces. And it does scare me, especially when it's KD you're talking about, because KD has left the cupboard bare for the Nets. KD has left the cupboard bare for the Suns now, because you just mortgage your whole future on Kevin Durant. And he's a player that demands that value. I mean, he's one of the greatest of all time, but I'm just not, I'm leery to do that. I would much rather build around John Jaren.
Agreed. And I don't care what all these faceless Laker accounts say. You're not going to do a straight swap of Austin Reeves and Jaren Jackson Jr. He's not going to be your big man of the future. It's just not going to happen. Jaren is going to sign an extension this offseason. And it's going to be unfortunate for all these national media guys who are trying to get him to New York or LA with these bogus trades where Memphis is stripped to the studs and the cupboard bare, much like in a KD trade. It's not going to happen. John Jaren are our guys. It was Dez or Jaren are going to be traded, not both. And it was Dez was the one that was moved. And so John and Jaren are the corner piece of this franchise. It's John's team with Jaren as a 1A option. And I think that we're going to build around those guys with big wings, catch and shoot three guys. We need another big. And I think this team's going to look a lot different going into the fall, Drew. This is our summer where it is time to make winning moves.
Let's end this with a gripe that I have. And it has to do with all the things we're talking about now. You know, I see, and I appreciate, I don't think I've seen Issa Ortiz in here. Appreciate the comments, but this is kind of the stuff that was immediately talked about. I got excited, and for the first time since like the Luka trade, where I was like, I just want to consume all this content as much and as fast as I can. And the first thing that popped up was like an instant reaction by Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo. And I just got so mad, because it was like, they were saying, I can't compute a scenario in which this isn't tanking. And I just wanted to scream. It's like, that's just not happening. Yeah. That's not what this city is about. And this franchise is about. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not happening. And if it does, I'm out. I'm out. If you trade John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. for draft picks, I'm out. I'm out. Like, 1000%. I love this team. I love the city that this team plays in. That is not representative of anything that a Memphis Grizzlies fan wants or desires or sees in the identity of a team. I'm out, bro.
Yeah. For me, the only person I'm trading Jaren for is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Point blank.
Unless it's Giannis.
I would not move him for literally. That is the only NBA player, the only one. And I will stand on that. I'll fight anybody in a Grizzly space, them nerds over there, whatever. Giannis is the only one I would trade Jaren for, period. Everybody else is a non-starter. I'm hanging up the phone.
Yeah, I would trade Giannis for everybody on our roster except for Ja, and then we would just have to figure out who the next 13 players are going to be.
We'd be calling Timmy Allen and Jonathan Good, all those guys again. Y'all come on back.
Yuki, you're a full-time roster player.
Yeah, exactly right. But that's literally the only one. Otherwise, we're keeping John Jaren. We're building around them with the pieces that we've talked about today. But Drew, speaking of building with pieces, we've got some college baseball to talk about, as there is a Cinderella run heading towards the finals.
We may have just lost your boy Jared. I can't let this stand. I don't know what this is about. He's gonna have to explain himself, but
no, he's saying get him to play or come coach.
Oh, okay. I was about to say, if you're throwing darts at my boy Brevin.
No, Jared is very pro Brevin Knight. I can stand for Jared on that. Sorry. Pro BK. He wants him to come play.
Brevin can be our backup point guard. I'm good with that.
Yeah. No, but we have made it to Omaha, and we have got our first elimination. The Arizona Wildcats were eliminated late last night yesterday by
Louisville.
Louisville, thank you very much. And they are now awaiting the loser of the Coastal Carolina Oregon State game, which was Oregon State. And so Oregon State has got to play Louisville for the right to beat Coastal twice, who was in the driver's seat of that half of the bracket. I tried to put y'all on Coastal a couple of weeks ago when they were in the regionals and supers, and they only just continue to winning 25 consecutive games. Yes, it's Sunbelt baseball, but the Auburn's in there, Oregon State's in there, Arizona's in there. They beat some good teams. Y'all need to listen to me. The Chanticleers are for real, and they're going to be a tough out for anybody, especially on that half of the back bracket, Drew. But on the other side, it's the LSU Tigers who are in the driver's seat with Murray State and Arkansas playing today for the right to have to knock off LSU twice to get the championship series.
LSU,
is there any hope? Is there any hope for Jared's Razorbacks?
Listen, it's really tough. I don't remember the stats, but I do remember when Ole Miss went 2-0 in the College World Series that they were like, it's an overwhelming percentage of teams that advance the College World Series finals start 2-0. So it's been done before where you come through the losers bracket and have to knock off somebody twice, but it's really hard, especially when you're talking college baseball and it's primarily dependent on arms. When you're playing in TD Ameritrade Park there in Omaha, it's a big part. Your arms are so important. You can't really play 5 games in a week and then be fully rested, have your arms fully rested. Now, Arkansas's ace, the lefty, win an inning and a third against LSU. So, I mean, didn't throw a lot of pitches, but it didn't look good either. So I would bet my money, which is, this would be extremely plus odds. I mean, extremely minus odds here, but I'm looking at Coastal Carolina and I'm looking at whoever's winning the LSU UCLA game, because that's what history tells you, is that the 2-0 teams from each bracket. When Ole Miss was there, it was Ole Miss and Oklahoma both went 2-0. They both ended up in the finals, and I just have a hard time thinking. Now Arkansas's got it. I mean, Arkansas's got the power to do it.
They're deep.
If I'm Arkansas, I would really like to see UCLA beat LSU now and only have to, so you don't have to beat LSU once and then UCLA twice instead of the other way around. But yeah, it's tough sledding if you take that first loss.
Yeah. Who did Oregon State beat in that run, Jared, in 2018 after losing game 1? Wasn't it Arkansas? Anyway,
that's all.
But there's I agree.
Mean anything to you? The Rusty's getting real glitchy on us here. I think he's back. Yeah. Does the name Carson Shaddy mean anything to you, Jared? Because I remember it, and I'm not even a fan.
Yeah. Yep. Wi-Fi's starting to play out, but that's going to do it for our Monday show. Thank y'all for hanging with us, talking Desmond Bane, talking college baseball, talking trade scenarios. There's going to be a billion of them. We'll have more on Wednesday. Also on Wednesday, tune in. We're going to have a Magic podcast here talking about what the Magic think about Desmond Bane and how they're going to welcome our boy in with open arms. That's the only option they have. Otherwise, we're running them off the show. But y'all make sure y'all tune in with us. Hang out with us on socials at 2bucks_BCM on Instagram and Twitter. And Drew, go be a friend to somebody who needs a friend, and there are no refunds for what you heard today.
That's right, because with the $2, you always get what you pay for. I love you, Des.
Thank you for tuning into this episode of the 2 Buck Sports Show. If you enjoyed this episode, subscribe to Bluff City Media's YouTube page, like this video, and leave a comment. We will see you back here in a few days.